breaking news from KXAN News.
That breaking news this morning coming in from Round Rock, and a man is dead after a shooting with Round Rock police.
Yeah, we start with the scene that happened last night in South Austin. I-35 was shut down at Westinghouse Road. It was just before 11 p.m. It was in southbound I-35 in Round Rock. There was a 911 call about a drunk driver getting into a single car accident right before 9:45. That car had rolled off into a field. When police got there to the scene, a male suspect walked from the car to a wooded tree line. The officers did not initially make contact with the suspect and instead sent a drone over to watch over him, which made the suspect, according to investigators, start to shoot at it.
Once SWAT got there, there was a confrontation between an officer and the suspect. That officer is now on administrative leave.
Our officer did fire a round at the subject. At this time, we do not know if our officer did strike the subject. There's an indication that there was also a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Round Rock PD is now waiting for an autopsy to determine the cause of death. Police still working to identify the suspect, and that road is now reopened. Also this morning, the high winds fueling that fire in Los Angeles, part of the same storm system that will impact Texas. There is a winter storm watch. And in Dallas, that is where they have the chance for weather in our area. This is video of those fires in California. Governor Greg Abbott giving an update on the state's response later this morning.
The city of Austin preparing for that cold snap tomorrow by holding a press conference later on today in the afternoon. They're doing that at 1 o'clock. Mayor Kirk Watson with other city representatives are going to be there giving an update on the cold weather and how the city of Austin plans to operate with that cold weather. TxDOT already treating the roads ahead of the potential icy conditions. We did notice there were trucks that you see in our video there along 130 and 290 yesterday, and the 973 overpass at 130. Elevated bridges and roads are being prioritized because they could potentially freeze first.
In Round Rock yesterday, the city loaded its trucks to pre-treat the roads. In a social media post, the city asked drivers to give crews some space if they see those trucks out on the road.
Saw some of those in on my way to work this morning. Dry and quiet right now, but this is the last morning we'll be able to say that.
Yeah, can we take a moment to say thank you, TxDOT, for getting out there and doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Multiple lines I saw on Mopac. So, you know, they're getting ahead of it.
Yep.
We love to see it. As far as what we need to prepare for, dry skies today and the potential for some of that cold rain and wintry mix starting late tonight. Let's begin with a live look outside. Indeed, main camera, dry skies at the moment, but a lot of cloud cover out there. We're not going to see a whole lot of sunshine today, mainly cloudy from start to finish. Temperatures this morning still very cold, widespread 20s and 30s out there, not quite at freezing in downtown Austin, although most of us are. Temperatures just a little warmer, courtesy of some of those clouds out there. As far as the day goes, it's going to be mainly cloudy and chilly from start to finish with the temperature of only 43. Now that will be colder than yesterday. We're going to lose that sunshine, but I really don't anticipate anything in the way of meaningful precipitation. Is it possible you notice one or two flurries, one or two sprinkles? Yes, but it's a less than 10% chance, so you will not find it in the forecast today. Coming up, we got a lot to talk about, friends. We have a very wet day tomorrow. Starting after midnight, rain's going to move in, potentially even in the form of wintry mix, depending on where you're at. I'm thinking hill country could get a little icy overnight. We're going to talk about this wintry mix potential and that cold rain, which right now is a guarantee for tomorrow, and then when milder weather will return. We're not going to stay like this forever. We'll time out the sunshine's return here in just a few minutes. Sally.
Thank you, Kristen. And North Austin Church is now opening up this week after the overnight cold weather shelter for homeless people have a place to stay.
Yeah, it's going to stay open through Thursday night. St. Mark United Methodist Church says it saw a gap in help for homeless people up north, as it can be hard for those folks to get down to the city's central meeting place for shelter. So the church teamed up with Austin Mutual Aid, a group that's worked in this space for years to make it happen.
We have so many unhoused neighbors and neighbors that are struggling, and we know that there's not a lot up here in this area, and so our mission is to really serve the 1 mile radius around us.
Austin's overnight cold weather shelters require people to meet at the One Texas Center, check in from 6 to 8 at night, and more than 280 people stayed there Monday. 200 people stayed Sunday. Those shelters will be open at least through Thursday night.
Let's go in depth here. So why does the city of Austin have just one meeting location? Well, according to city officials, it's because the shelters are at rec centers, and those rec centers aren't always the same. So they don't want someone to show up at the wrong place. If it's closed, they don't want to have to turn them away. We did ask why. They just don't have more information on this. And the city says they've looked at specifically coming up with a shelter, especially up north, but they say it's hard to find space that's really large enough to hold a couple hundred people while they want to be transported. That can also open on days just of a notice. They say it could happen, though, in the future when it comes to a specific shelter that would be open.
After a tumultuous year, the University of Texas at Austin now needs to find a new president. UT President Jay Hartzell announcing he will step down at the end of this upcoming spring semester. He'll then become Southern Methodist University's next president. On the UT campus, the reaction among students mixed.
It was definitely surprising. I think he's definitely been pretty good at, maintaining the school, hosting these events that are really cool, and, giving students and staff a great opportunity and great experiences here.
I'm shocked. I wasn't expecting this. I do think on the Palestinian protest, that was a little bit hard on the students. I think the way that he handled that was a little bit strong.
Hartzell's been a Longhorn for decades, serving as UT's president since 2020. But before that, a faculty member since 2001, and before that, a student graduating in 1998. There's been a major announcement coming out of Meta, the parent company of social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, CEO Mark Zuckerberg is now announcing Meta is ending its fact-checking program in favor of a community notes model similar to what Elon Musk uses on X. He also announced that he would move the moderation teams here to Texas. Meta's third-party fact-checking program has been in place since 2016 when community notes will be written and rated by users to provide context to posts. He added that Meta's complex moderation system makes too many mistakes, too much censorship, too biased, he said. Meta also plans to remove restrictions on topics like immigration and gender. Zuckerberg said that Meta would work with the incoming Trump administration to promote free expression around the world. Wow, look at this. And if you're listening on our podcast, you'll want to go to our website at KXAN.com and check out some of the video and pictures we're getting in from California. This is a fire that is burning rapidly and intensely. The Palisades fire has 3,000-acre fire that's 0% contained.
There are thousands of people who've been evacuating their homes as this is just a huge disaster in Southern California. There are crews that are on the fire lines. We're going to be checking in with them throughout the morning.
So if you are heading to the store later on today and you're looking to buy some eggs, you may notice you don't have a lot of options to choose from.
No, I experienced this when I went to Costco, and the organic eggs are gone. Egg distributors seeing a decrease in supply, and this is because of bird flu. But there's another reason why prices are going up for eggs too. Typically during the holiday season, the demand for eggs increases. The vice president for international egg supplier Eggs Unlimited says the industry going through one challenge after another.
Eggs right now are just going through an unprecedented supply shock due to the avian influenza virus at a time when demand is pretty strong.
In December alone, the U.S. Department of Agriculture reported more than 18 million birds affected by avian flu. Meanwhile, the cost for a dozen eggs has jumped more than 60% in the last year. Girl Scout cookies, everyone's favorite, kicking off today, but there's some bittersweet news here. The organization revealing that its s'mores and toast-yay flavors going to be discontinued at the end of the year. S'mores cookies have been around since 2017, while toast-yay made its debut in 2021. Cookie lovers can still stock up on those boxes of the two flavors through the end of this year before they disappear. And Girl Scout cookie season in Central Texas begins in 7 days, so we have a week to wait. And then hopefully some Girl Scouts will be rolling through KXAN.
Oh, you know they will. Please.
Placing those orders.
That's a call.
Listen, I've got sources.
Yeah,
all right.
okay,
You got to help them.
We had hundreds of them in here on December, so I can make some calls
Excellent.
if needed.
Good. So the s'mores, is that something you guys both liked from Girl Scout cookies?
I don't know.
The last one
I
for me.
love s'mores. I don't think I've ever tried it, though.
Liked, but didn't love.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna
it's okay.
It's definitely not on the top of my list.
Yeah.
You know, don't mess with the Thin Mints, don't mess with the Samoas or Caramel Delights or whatever they're calling them nowadays.
Yes.
As a former Girl Scout, those are my two loyal favorites till I die.
Go-tos. Yes.
Go-tos. Let me show you what's going on with your weather. A lot of eyes on this storm system getting kicked out of northern Mexico here. At this moment, I'm not seeing anything significant. We still have drier air to overcome at the ground. Not to say we won't see any sprinkles try and squeeze out of these clouds, maybe even a few snowflakes today, but no accumulation expected today here in Central Texas. Here's the storm itself. It's going to be opening up across portions of northern Mexico and then sliding across the southern states of the U.S. here through the rest of the week. Current temperature in Austin, 34 degrees, even with a light wind less than 10 miles per hour. Look at the wind chill. Feels like 28 degrees walking out the door this morning here in Austin. On our way to 43, not nearly as warm as yesterday. Just, you know, by comparison, we've still been running colder than normal for a while since that cold front moved in this past weekend. But we're mainly cloudy and we're mainly dry today. Let's dive into this storm, because I think today's going to be the day you want to make sure any of those last minute winter preparations are done. As we get into tonight, I really don't anticipate anything concerning until after midnight. Once we get into tomorrow, look at tomorrow morning. I've stopped this around 6, 7 a.m. There's definitely going to be the potential for some wintry mix, mainly west of I-35, with a mix of some sleet and freezing rain possible, but mostly cold rain here in the Austin metro. Eastern counties also looking at the potential for some spotty liquid showers, but watch as we go into the back end of tomorrow. Those showers continue to fill in, not only in coverage, but also in intensity too. Some of this could be pockets of heavy rain as we get into Thursday evening and Thursday night. So is icing possible? Yes. Maybe up to about I would say, you know, 1/10 of an inch, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a lot in parts of the hill country. That's going to be the biggest concern for us. I think Austin Metro maybe in spots, but that still could do a whole lot of destruction and some slowdowns for us as we get into not only Thursday morning, but maybe even Friday morning too, although Friday morning, I'm not expecting additional accumulation. It's just going to be what's left over from what we picked up on Thursday. So that being said, with the majority of this still falling as liquid rain, look at some of the rainfall potentials. I mean, we could squeeze out 1 to 2 inches of widespread rain on Thursday for tomorrow. There's just going to be that concern for some of those spots, especially elevated areas, that we're going to have to be on the lookout for some icing conditions. But I'm super encouraged to see that TxDOT's already out there pre-treating some of those trouble spots. What about the thousands headed north to Arlington? Well, let me show you what that could look like here on our high resolution model. And I'm using our in-house model. I think it's got a real good handle on what's going to happen. Here's tomorrow morning from Waco to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, some icing possible. Once we get into Thursday evening, we do see this transition mainly to liquid rain. And then we're still looking at most of the trouble up in Arlington. My advice to you right now is if you can wait until late Friday morning, I think you're going to have a much better time getting up there without nearly as many issues, whereas if, you know, compared to what you could encounter tomorrow. In the meantime, 7-day forecast here at home shows a lot of trouble for tomorrow with that wintry mix potential, most of it being cold rain, temperatures not leaving the 30s. We've got sunshine this weekend. Couple dry cold fronts. They'll really just do some damage with the overnight lows, keeping us cold with gusty winds. Sally?
Kristen, thank you for that. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is speaking up in the contentious battle for House Speaker, joining top GOP leadership in Leander, rallying support for David Cook of Mansfield. In just a week, lawmakers in the Texas House of Representatives are going to vote on either Cook, who has the support of the majority of Republicans in the House, or Dustin Burrows of Lubbock, who is hoping for some Democratic support to push him over the threshold. Paxton saying that he wants to help unite a Republican Party that's been divided over the issue.
I do want them to make a choice amongst the caucus. I think that's the only way that I can accomplish my goals and that every Republican can accomplish the goals that they were elected for.
This was a rally that marked just one of several events across the state of Texas, meaning to put pressure on lawmakers ahead of a vote. That vote happening next Tuesday. The rally in Leander likely meant to put pressure on Representative Terry Wilson, who represents the area, and the pressure to support Cook.
It's a new chapter for Hays County law enforcement as Anthony Hippolito was sworn in as that county's sheriff. Hays County holding a ceremony yesterday. Voters elected Hippolito in November, and he previously served as a Hays County deputy in 2021. Prior to that, he served in the Austin Police Department for 23 years.
U.S. transportation officials taking a closer look at 2.6 million Tesla vehicles out there. It has to do with crash reports related to a feature that allows the driver to move their cars remotely. According to Reuters, this allows, the investigation is following after more than 2 million Tesla vehicles. Full self-driving software was questioned in the wake of 4 reported crashes, and now the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is also looking into it. Tesla's Actually Smart Summon feature is what it's called, Actually Smart Summon feature, which has reportedly failed to detect things like parked vehicles and others. A healthy reminder that crime does not stop when the weather gets icy, that is for sure. There's an armed robber posing as a Good Samaritan who stole a man's car after helping free the vehicle from the snow in Missouri. One of many crimes of opportunity as criminals take advantage of the winter storm impact to rob unsuspecting people, according to police. James Clark with the National Urban League's Public Safety Department sees these scenarios often.
When it gets cold, then people look for other opportunities to find people with their guards down.
According to the Austin Police Department, there's a 50% uptick in theft during the December months compared to what we see the rest of the year.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
After losing their SEC opener by 20 at A&M on Saturday, SEC home opener against number 2 Auburn on Tuesday night. Mac Brown back in Austin. He's an Austin resident once again, taking in some basketball. Rodney Terry's gang hoping for a big bounce back against a rough and tumble Auburn team. Bucket right there from Ja'Kai Howard. Auburn led by as many as 21 in the second half. Then the Horns find some life. All led by Arthur Kaluma with 34 points. Trey Johnson, tough fadeaway, and it goes to a 6-point game. And then Longhorns 8-5. Kaluma again. And inside of a minute, Horns have a fighting chance. They got it to 3, but Auburn just kept hitting free throws. Tahad Pettiford, the final 2 with 6 seconds to go. A valiant comeback effort, but the Horns are 0-2 in SEC play, and Tennessee's coming off a 30-point loss last night. They'll be in Austin on Saturday. Texas women trying to go 2-0 in SEC play tomorrow night. They get Alabama. Texas football team hoping they'll be back on the practice field in several days, which means, of course, they will be playing for a national championship. Longhorns will head up to North Texas today. Final preparations for an Ohio State team just playing lights out. Defense giving up less than 13 points per game. Horns will need a solid effort all around. Quinn Ewers, well, in the eye of the storm, he has been a cool customer. None bigger than that play against Arizona State to keep the season alive, and Ewers explains why that is so needed from his position.
I think that's huge for the quarterback to be that guy who's going to be calm within the storm and just a guy to kind of rely on. And you know, I picture it as when I see a receiver, an O-lineman, a running back, tight end look at me, I want them to see the calmness and hear the calmness in my voice, and you know, just see like, oh, he's calm, like, you know, we got this, we're good, you know. If he's comfortable, I'm going to be comfortable, and you know, I just want to be that guy that just kind of that example for other guys who, you know, might be a little nervous for the situation or for the moment, but you know, it's the guys that make the plays around me.
I think guys kind of like going in enemy territory sometimes. You know, it feels good being a little bit of the villain, you could say, but yeah, I mean, obviously you got to take into the fact that it is in Texas, so it could be a loud environment, could be like an away environment. We obviously know that, but I mean, it doesn't matter where you put the ball down. We're just going to come show up and play.
Yeah, make no mistake, Ohio State will have their share of fans. And don't forget, before the game, we'll get you ready for it over on KBVO. It is Texas Game Day. That will be Friday at 5:30. Back to you.
Coming up, a 911 call turning into a deadly shootout in Round Rock. The latest with a live report. If you're listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thanks for being with us. Hope you'll join us on air for that, or you can head to our website, KXAN.com.